Hello everyone, Will the Outlaw here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Legacy Beast Wars Universe Magmatron. Beast Wars Neo was one of those things that I had zero knowledge or interest in. Not only was it a continuity exclusive to the Japanese market, but it came around the time I was already an adult and before I got back into collecting. I knew who Big Convoy was, but I had no idea this guy was his nemesis. Well, all these years later, and the Legacy line is now paying homage to arguably one of the oddest mainstream characters in all of Transformers. I want to mention the packaging real quick. I absolutely love this artwork. The illustrations of the individual beasts here really embrace the Japanese roots of this character. The front artwork is really good, and I think it's chock full of Beast Wars Neo Easter eggs. I don't know any, but let me know what you see in the comments below. Taking a look at the figure itself, and this thing is straight out of Greek mythology. That's really the best way to describe this thing in every mode. If I didn't know any better, I don't think I would even connect this to being a Transformers figure at first glance. The majority of the details in this mode lean heavily towards an organic look, with sporadic tech details spread throughout the figure. I can't help but be extremely attracted to this color scheme. The purples, greens, and reds work perfectly together, despite kind of looking like a random collection of colors. The molded details are varied, from the scales of the Landsaurus, to the skin of the Seasaurus, to the wing details of the Skysaurus. The tech details are just as well done, with the arms being the most visible. If you look carefully, there are even tiny little tech details hidden throughout the figure. One thing that I really appreciate is the addition of the individual spark crystals. The Skysaurus one is here on the head wing, the Seasaurus has his right here on the arm, and the Landsaurus one is here on the hilt of the sword piece. Magmatron's head sculpt is packed with detail and character. I know next to nothing about this character, but judging by his face, he is a really mean one. The paint apps here are done really well, with even the teeth being perfectly picked out in silver paint. The front of the figure looks really cool and intimidating, and went a long way in finally convincing me to pick this guy up. I know the back is kind of a mess, but considering the fact this figure consists of 3 separate beast modes, I think this is the best you're going to get. That being said, it does get in the way of articulation. There is a swivel at the neck. The wings can move out of the way, but these leg pieces still get in the way of movement. Tight ratchets at the shoulders that can go up, down, in and out. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrists that can swivel and can also move up and down, articulated fingers. If you can get the kibble out of the way, you can get a little waist swivel, heavy ratchets in the hips that can go forward, back, in and out, thigh cut, deep knee bend, and an ankle tilt. If you want a little more foot articulation, you can unpeg this piece for some up and down range. This figure is covered in tight, ratcheted joints, but the kibble gets in the way too often. If you can get him into a pose, he will most definitely hold that pose no problem. All that said, this thing is so tight and well engineered and put together, it doesn't have the feeling of a combiner, but of a large single piece that will not separate no matter how hard you pose him. He even passes a shake test with flying colors. Like every Commander class figure before it, he comes with a bunch of accessories. He comes with the standard blast effects. He also comes with these blade accessories that can either be wielded by Magmatron or placed on the Skysaurus wings to fill them out a little. His sword comes in 2 parts. The blade piece is made with a softer clear plastic painted in a dark gunmetal silver. They can either be combined like this or separated, and the hilt can be used as a blaster. You can even put a blast effect to do something of a flaming sword look. This is my preferred look as I think it fits the character of someone called Magmatron. This piece, which will later be a part of the Seasaurus component, can act as a shield and clips on his left arm. I like how this thing is detailed, with one side being wholly organic and the other side having some nice tech details. Separating the bots to their individual components is easy enough. Honestly, the hardest part is getting the arms off. Next step is getting the head off, and now you can start getting them into their individual beast modes. The Airsaurus is by far the easiest to transform, with the front piece flipping up, and that's pretty much it. Here we have a Quetzalcoatlus. The Quetzalcoatlus is the biggest flying animal ever discovered and was thought to have a wingspan of around 40 feet. For being the smallest component, he is surprisingly well articulated. He has an articulated neck with a ball joint head and a mouth that can open and close. His wings have multiple joints that allow them to flap and move around for a large variety of poses. His legs are just as posable with ball hips and multiple hinges down each leg. Transforming the Caesaurus is a little more challenging, since the arms need to be placed at a certain angle in order to work. By far the most satisfying part is combining the two halves, as they fit and clip together very satisfyingly. The Caesaurus mode we get is based on the Elasmosaurus. This creature is known for having one of the longest necks of any known animal with an estimated length of 25 feet. That being said, this version is vastly more articulated than that creature ever was. The neck consists of around 8 points of articulation, which allows an impressive range of movement. Even the head is articulated with an up and down movement and opening jaw. Molded details throughout this mode are some of the most realistic I have seen on a Transformer, with the skin details consistent even around the joints. The coloring is pretty much the same throughout, with there being some nice metallic paint applied to the back. Moving on to the final piece, the Lansaurus. This transforms into a Giganotosaurus, possibly the largest land carnivore ever discovered. The creature had an estimated length of around 45 feet, so yeah, he was pretty huge. Transforming this thing is equal parts fun and incredibly frustrating. I absolutely love how the legs literally change shape and transform from bot to dino legs with minimal similarities between the both. The frustrating part is trying to put this piece into the tail section. It's held in place by 2 pegs and it's really hard to get them properly into place due to the tight fit. It's even more frustrating due to the fact that it's absolutely necessary for the dino mode. Without it, it just doesn't look right. Once you get everything into place, you are left with one of the best dino modes I have ever messed with. The articulation is almost as good as Kingdom Megatron with neck articulation, ball jointed arms, and multiple joints in the legs. The tail only has a single joint and moving it breaks up the shape a bit, so I just keep it straight. The sword can be placed in the tail like this, but I prefer to keep it out since it clips in a little too snugly for my comfort. Each beast is done in its own vibrant dominant color, which makes them look really good together as a set and makes the bot mode even more impressive once combined in my opinion. So one of the features that drew me to the set is what's called the Magmasaurus mode. It's been a source of confusion and hilarity since it was first introduced, and I'm so glad they decided to include this mode here. There are several dedicated pegs and connections that not only make this mode easy to get to, but it holds as tightly and solidly as the main bot mode. It's not the main event, but it is a welcome opening act. All in all, with a relatively obscure character like Magmatron, it's both surprising and refreshing to see something other than G1 get this much love and attention. I had no idea what this character was before last year, but now that Hasbro has gone back to touch on all the continuities throughout the history of the Transformers, I'm glad I was able to get this guy and experience it myself. Bottom line, Magmatron is one of the most unique and weird Transformers ever made, and this toy takes that and makes it one of the most fun toys released in the last couple of years. Well, that was my look at Transformers Legacy Beast Wars Universe Magmatron. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all soon.
Laters!
Check out my Patreon for early access to my videos and shoutouts on future videos. Join up and let's talk toys.